Personal. Evening.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، إن أريد بك الإصلاح ما استطعت وما توفيقي إلا بالله عليه توكلت وإليه أنيب. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. All praise belongs to Allah alone. Peace and blessing of Allah be on the last Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah, his family and companions. We ask Allah to accept from our all as our Hajj, our striving and our good deeds. Dear brother and sister, before I start, I praise Allah for having guided you to the Hajj of this house. May He accept from all of as our good deeds and increase His reward for us and for you. Dear brother and sister, this advice is being offered to you in the hope that Allah will accept from all of us our Hajj and our striving. Firstly, remember that you are on blessed journey, a journey that is based on belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, unity, tawheed, sincerity to Him, responding to His call, and on obedience to His commands, hoping to gain the reward of the Almighty. And in obedience to the Messenger Muhammad, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him. Dear brother and sister, do not forget that the reward for a Hajj that is acceptable to Allah, the Most High, in the garden of paradise. Secondly, be on your guard against the mischief of Shaitan, who intends to cause dissension among you, because indeed he is an enemy lying in ambush for you. Love each other as brothers and sisters and avoid disputes and disobedience to Allah. Know that the Messenger of Allah, may the peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, said, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. None of you has truly believed unless he likes for his brother what he likes for himself. Dear brother and sister, now I will start by explaining how to perform Hajj and Umrah. Dear brother and sister, there are three ways of performing the Hajj. The Hajj at-Tamattu, interrupted, separate Umrah, separate Hajj. Hajj Qiran, combined together Umrah and Hajj. Hajj Ifrad, single, only Hajj. Now, I want to talk Hajj at-Tamattu. Hajj at-Tamattu, this means entering in the Ihram for the Umrah during the month of Hajj, from the first of the month of Shawwal to the break of dawn on the 10th day of the month of Dhul Hijjah, and then to take off Ihram after performing the Umrah, and then to take Ihram again for the Hajj from Mecca or anywhere near to it on the 8th day of Dhul Hijjah during the same year in the which the Umrah was performed. Second, Hajj al-Qiran, This denotes entering into ihram for both the Umrah and the Hajj at the same time during the month of Hajj, and not taking off the ihram until the day of sacrifice, the 10th day of Dhul Hijjah. And third one is Hajjatul Ifrad, Hajjul Ifrad. This signifies making ihram for the Hajj during the month of Hajj from the prescribed station of ihram, means al-miqat, or from his house if it is located between Mecca and the miqat, or from Mecca if he resides there, and to remain in ihram until the day of sacrifice. My brother and sister, now we will know the performance of the Umrah. When you reach the prescribed station miqat, the sunnah is that you clean yourself, wash the whole of your body, and apply some perfume to your body, but not to your garments of ihram. And then put on the two-piece garments of ihram, izar and rida, lion cloth and a shawl, which preferably should be a white cloth. As for a woman, she may wear any clothes she likes, as long as they do not display her adornment, nor make her resemble men or resemble the clothes of unbelieving women. Then make your intention to perform Umrah by saying, Labbayka Umratan. The meanings, I answer your call with Umrah. And then say the talbiyah, Labbayk Allahumma labbayk, labbayk la sharika laka labbayk, innal hamda wal ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. My brothers and sisters, men should say this aloud, while women should say it silently. Repeat this talbiyah frequently and engage in the praise of Allah and in supplication for forgiveness. Secondly, when you reach Mecca, make the 7 circuits tawaf around the Kaaba, beginning the black stone with takbir Allahu Akbar, and ending each circuit at the same place. While making your tawaf, invoke Allah much and make supplication to him in any words you please, as long as they are acceptable in the Sharia. It is sunnah, when you reach the place between the Yamani corner, Ruknul Yamani, and the black stone, in each circuit you to say, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanatun wa qina adhaban nar. My brother and sister, after completing the 7th circuit, pray 2 rakat behind the station of Ibrahim, Maqam Ibrahim, if it is possible. Even if you are a little far away from it, otherwise pray at any other place within the sacred mosque. In doing this tawaf, it is sunnah for a man to expose his right shoulder, that is the middle of the upper garment, for his ihram underneath, his right arm and other 2 ends on his left shoulder. It is also sunnah for him to do ramal, to jog, that is to walk his quick and short paces during the first 3 circuits of this tawaf. My brother and sister, thirdly, you then go to the Mount of Safa and climb on it and recite the saying of Allah, Inna Safa wal Marwata min sha'irillah. The meaning of this verse, surely the Safa and Marwa are among the symbol of Allah. Inna Safa wal Marwata min sha'irillah. فمن حج البيت أو اعتمر فلا جناح عليه أن يطوف بهما فَمَنْ تَطَوَّعَ خَيْرًا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ شَاكِرٌ عَلِيمٌ. Surely the Safa and Marwa are among the symbols of Allah. So he who performed the Hajj to the house of Allah or the Umrah, it is no sin on him to make the walk between them. And whoever does good voluntarily, then certainly Allah is thankful knowing. My brother and sister, then you face the Kaaba, praise Allah, raising your hand in the way done by the one making dua, and then say the Takbir Allahu Akbar 3 times. Then make supplication of Allah, repeating your supplication 3 times, as this is the Sunnah. Then say, La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shayin qadir. لا إله إلا الله وحده أنجز وعده ونصر عبده وهزم الأحزاب وحده. My brother and sister, it is preferable to utter this supplication 3 times, but there is no harm in saying it less than that. You then descend from Safa and do the sa'i of the Umrah 7 times. Increase your pace between the 2 green posts, but otherwise walk at the normal pace before and after them. Then you climb Marwa and praise Allah and do as you did at Safa. There is no required and specific formulas or supplications for tawaf and sa'i. The worshipper may praise Allah or supplicate him in their own words, or he may recite portions of the Quran, paying special attention to the supplications that the Prophet, may the peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, recited at specific places when performing these rites. Fourthly, after the sa'i, end your Umrah by shaving or shortening your hair. After this, the prohibition pertaining to the state of Ihram and lifted, and you may now resume your normal activities. My brother and sister, if you are doing Hajj Tamattu, then it is preferable to shorten your hair so that you leave the shaving on the hair for the act of going out of the rites of Hajj. If you are doing Hajj Tamattu or Qiran, the sacrifice of sheep or 1/7 of a camel or 1/7 of a cow is obligatory on you. You slaughter it on the day of sacrifice, the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. If you cannot afford this sacrifice, it is obligatory on you to fast 10 days, 3 days during the Hajj, and 7 after returning home. Dear brother and sister, it is preferable to fast the 3 days before the day of Arafat, the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. However, there is nothing wrong if you fast the 3 days after the day of the Eid. My brother and sister, now we will know the performance of the Hajj. Firstly, if you are performing Hajj al-Ifrad or Hajj al-Qiran, that is the Hajj that is combined with Umrah, you enter into Ihram as the station of Ihram, Miqat, that lies on your way to Mecca. However, if you live in a place that lies between the Miqat and Mecca, then you enter into your Ihram for the type of Hajj you intend from your place of residence. If you are performing Hajj Tamattu, you make Ihram for Umrah for the Miqat through which you come to Mecca. Then you make the Ihram for Hajj for your residence in the Mecca on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. Wash the whole of your body, perfume yourself if possible, and put on the 2 garments of Ihram. After putting on Ihram, make your niyyah intention by saying Labbaik Hajja. The meaning of I answer your call with Hajj. Then recite the Talbiyah. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, innal hamda wal ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. Secondly, my brother and sister, then you go to Mina, where you pray the Zohar, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, and Fajr prayer at their proper times, shortening prayers with 4 rakats to 2 rakats, but non-combining the prayers. Thirdly, when the sun rises on the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, proceed toward Arafat in a dignified manner and without harming your fellow pilgrims. At Arafat, pray the Dhuhr and Asr prayer, shortening them and combining them during the time of Dhuhr with 1 adhan and 2 iqamas, 1 iqama for each prayer. Make sure that you are within the boundaries of Arafat and recite the praise of Allah and offer supplication to him facing the Qibla with your hand raised, following the practice of Prophet Muhammad. May the peace and blessing of Allah be upon him. The whole plain of Arafat is the place of doing this act of standing. Remain at Arafat until after sunset. Fourthly, my dear brother and sister, when the sun has set, proceed toward Muzdalifah in a peaceful and dignified manner, reciting the Talbiyah. Do not harm or cause any discomfort of your fellow Muslims. When you arrive the Muzdalifah, pray the Maghrib and Isha prayers combined, shortening the Isha prayer to 2 rakats and stay Isha Maghrib 3 rakats and Isha 2 rakats. Stay at Muzdalifah until you have prayed the Fajr prayer and remain there until the brightness of the morning is widespread. Remember Allah much and supplicate to him a lot after the Fajr prayer, facing the Qibla and raising your hands, following the practice of the Prophet Muhammad. May the peace and blessing of Allah be upon him. My dear brother and sister, then proceed to Mina before sunrise and continue saying the Talbiyah while going. Labbaik, Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, innal hamda wa ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. And if the pilgrim is among the people with excuse like women or weak individuals, it is permissible for them to proceed to Mina at any time after midnight. My dear brother and sister, in Muzdalifah, pick up only 7 pebbles to throw at the stone pillar Jamra of Aqaba. The remaining pebbles can be picked up at Mina. There is no harm even if the 7 pebbles to be thrown at the stone pillar of Aqaba are also picked up at Mina. Sixthly, my dear brother and sister, when you arrive at Mina, throw the 7 pebbles at the stone pillar of Aqaba. This is the one nearest of Mecca. Throw the pebbles one of after the other, saying Allahu Akbar with each throw. And also, my brother and sister, if you are required to sacrifice an animal, slaughter your sacrificial animal, you could eat some of the meat and distribute to the needy. Thirdly, shave your head or cut some of your hair. Shaving is preferable for men, while for women of length of a fingertip or their hair is to be cut. The above mentioned, my sister, after you have thrown the pebbles and shaved or cut some of your hairs, the prohibition of ihram are lifted, except the prohibition of having sexual intercourse with one's spouse. This is the first tahallul, the act of going out of the state of ihram and returning to one normal state. You may now wear our usual clothes. Seventhly, my brother and sister, then you go to Mecca and perform the tawaf al-ifada. The tawaf is called tawaf ziyarah. also, which is the essential part of the Hajj. If you are doing Hajj Tamattu, you also perform the Sa'i. If you are performing the Ifrad or Qiran and you have performed the Sa'i with Tawaf Qudum, the Tawaf of arrival at the Mecca, you do not have to make another Sa'i. After this, all prohibitions of Ihram are lifted, including having sexual relation with your spouse. It is permissible to delay the Tawaf al-Ifada and say until after the day spent at Mina are over. And eighthly, my brother and sisters, after performing your Tawaf al-Ifada and say on the day of sacrifice, return to Mina and spend there the nights preceding the 11th, the 12th and 13th day of Dhul Hijjah, the 3 days of following the day of sacrifice, which are known as Ayyam al-Tashriq. If you has not and leave on the 12th day of Dhul Hijjah, there is nothing wrong in that. Ninthly, my brother and sister, after the Zawal, midday in the afternoon of each of the 2 or 3 days of your stay in Mina, stone each of the 3 pillars, Jamarat, starting with the first pillar, that is the one of the farthest from the Mecca, and followed by the middle pillar, and lastly the pillar of Aqaba, thrown 7 pebbles, one after the other at each of these pillars, saying Allahu Akbar with each throw. After stoning each of the first and the second pillars, stay and ask Allah whatever you wish, facing the Qibla and raising your hands. However, you do not stay to make dua after stoning the third Jamra. If you stay in Mina for only 2 days, you must leave Mina before the sun sets on the second day. If the sun should set before you are able to depart from Mina, then you would have to remain in Mina for the third night and throw the pebbles again the next day. In any case, it is preferable to remain in Mina for 3 nights. My brother and sister, it is permissible for the sick and the weak of deputize someone, a proxy, to throw the pebbles for them. The proxy first throw his own pebbles and then throw the pebbles for the person that deputized him while at the same pillar. 10th and lastly, my brother and sister, when you decide to return to your country after completing the rites of Hajj, you perform the farewell tawaf, tawaf al-wada, before leaving Mecca. No one is excused for the except one who are menstruating or at the period of the bleeding after childbirth. My brother and sister, now we will know obligation during Ihram. Firstly, true faithfully observe that Allah has made obligatory, such as the daily prayer at the date proper time and in congregation. Secondly, the avoid what Allah has prohibited, such as obscenity, committing sins and quarreling. Thirdly, the guard against harming or injuring Muslim by action or by word of mouth. Fourthly, to abstain for what is prohibited during Ihram, namely, firstly, do not cut your nails or pluck out your hair. There is no harm if they are break or fall off on their own without you intending it. Secondly, do not use scent or perfume, whether on the cloth or on the body, on your food, on drink. There are no harm in the remnants of effect of the scent applied when putting on ihram. Thirdly, do not kill, pregnant on assist in hunting any land game as long as you are in ihram. Fourthly, my brother and sister, do not propose marriage to the woman or contract it, either for yourself or on behalf of others, Sexual intercourse is also prohibited, as well as love, play, and fondling. All these actions are prohibited during the state of ihram, and they equally apply to men and women alike. My brother and sister, firstly, especially for men, a man may not cover his head with an adjoining cover, however, being under the shade of an umbrella or the roof of a car, or carrying something on his head, all these are permissible. Secondly, a man may not wear a shirt or any cloth that is made to cover the whole body or a part of it, nor should he wear a hooded garment, means banoons, turban, trousers, and khuf, yani short thin boot. And however, if an izar, the lion cloth, is not available, it is permissible to wear trouser. And if sandals are not available, it is permissible to wear a khuf. My brother and sister, if the forbidden for a woman to wear gloves on her hands or to the cover her face with the face veil, niqab, or drab, burqa, during the state of ihram. However, if she is in the presence of male strangers who are not related to her, not her mahrams, she should conceal her face with her head covering or the similar thing, just as she is supposed to do when not in the state of ihram. If a person in the state of ihram wears a certain garment of cover his head for men, or uses perfumes, or pulls out some hairs, or cut his nails out of forgetfulness or due it ignorance, there is no fidya. There is no fidya expiation on him, but must abstain from the action as soon as he remembers or is reminded by someone. And also, my brother and sister, it is permissible to wear sandals or a ring or a pair of glasses or a hearing aid or a wristwatch or a belt or a girdle and protect one's money or documents. And also, my brother and sister, it is permissible to change one clothes and to wash them, as well as to wash one hair and body, and there is no harm if some hair falls off during the washing. Now, brother and sister, now we will know error often committed by pilgrims. Firstly, error related to ihram. Some pilgrims cross the designated stations of ihram, miqat, on the route without being in ihram or entering into ihram there. They wait till they reach Jeddah or some other place that is after the miqat at which they entering into ihram. This is against the command of the Messenger of Allah, may the peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, which stipulates that every pilgrim should enter into ihram at the station of ihram that lies on his route. My brother and sister, the one who crosses the miqat without going into ihram must go back to the miqat that lies on his route and enter into ihram there. Otherwise, he must make expiation by sacrificing a sheep in Makkah and feeding all its meat to the poor. This applies to all pilgrims, regardless of whether one passes the station of ihram by air, by sea, or by land. If one route does not pass through one of the 5 designated stations of ihram, he should enter into ihram at the point that is nearest to the station of ihram on this route. My brother and sisters, secondly, errors related to tawaf. Firstly, starting the tawaf before the black stone, while it is obligatory to begin tawaf from the black stone. Secondly, doing the tawaf inside the hijr, which means going around only a portion of the Kaaba rather than the whole of it, since the Hajj is a part of the Kaaba, the circuit of Tawaf, then that is just going through the Hajj is invalid. Thirdly, doing Ramal, taking quick short steps during all the circuits, while Ramal is to do done only during the first 3 circuits of the Tawaf al-Qudum. Fourthly, my brother and sister, struggling violently to kiss the black stone and sometimes even hitting and abusing people. Such acts, which are injurious to Muslims, are not permissible. It is not permissible to abuse or hit this Muslim brother without a just cause. It should be noted, my brother and sister, that the tawaf remains perfectly valid without kissing the black stone. If one does not or cannot kiss the black stone, it is sufficient to simply point to the saying Allahu Akbar when he comes parallel to it, even if he may be at a distance from it. Fifthly, my brother and sister, touching the black stone with the intention of seeking blessing barakah. From it is an innovation bid'ah with no basis of the Sharia of Islam. The Sunnah is to touch it or kiss it as an act of obedience to Allah the Most High. Sixthly, touching the 4 corners of the Kaaba or its walls or wiping the face with the hands. The Prophet, may the peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, did not touch any part of the Kaaba except the black stone and the Yamani corner, Ruknul Yamani. Seventhly, my brother and sister, saying specific formulas of supplication for each circuit. The Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, did not specify any supplications except the saying of Allahu Akbar when the reach of the black stone, and at the end of the each circuit between the Yamani corner and the black stone, he used to say, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azaban nar. Our Lord, give us good in this world and good in the hereafter, and save us from the torment of the fire. Eighthly, my brother and sister, raising one's voice above the voices of others, which is done by some of the people doing tawaf or leading others in tawaf, as it causes confusion to the worshipper. Ninthly, my brother and sister, struggling to pray at the station of Ibrahim, Maqam Ibrahim. This is contrary for the Sunnah. Besides being injurious to other worshippers, it is sufficient to pray the 2 rakats of tawaf after completing 1 tawaf anywhere within the skid mosque. Thirdly, the error related to sa'i. Firstly, when climbing upon the mounts of Safa and Marwa, some pilgrims face the Kaaba, pointing towards it with their hands while saying Allahu Akbar, and if they were saying the takbir for Salah, the Sunnah is to raise the hands in the way you do when making dua. Secondly, accelerating one pace throughout the entire distance between the 2 hills. The Sunnah is to accelerate one's pace between the 2 green posts and walk at the normal pace for the remainder of the way. Fourthly, my brother and sister, error related to the Arafat. Firstly, some pilgrims camp outside the boundaries of Arafat and remain until the sun has set. Then they depart of Muzdalifah without actually standing at Arafat. This is a serious error which invalidates their Hajj, since standing in Arafat is the essence of Hajj, and it is the obligatory to be within its boundaries and none outside. My brother and sister, if it is not easy to do that, they may enter before sunset and remaining there until sunset. It is also acceptable to stand in Arafat, especially during the night of sacrifice. Secondly, my brother and sister, departing from Arafat before the sun has set is not permissible, because the Messenger of Allah, Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, stayed at Arafat until the sun had set completely. Thirdly, struggling through crowds in the order of climb Mount Arafat is not permissible, because it causes much harm and injury to others. The entire plain of Arafat is a place of standing, and neither climbing Mount Arafat nor making salah on it is recommended. My brother and sister, fourthly, making supplications facing the Mount Arafat is incorrect, because the Sunnah is the face of Qibla while making supplications. Fifthly and last, making heaps of earth or pebbles during the day of Arafat at particular places by some people has no basis in the Sharia of Allah. Fourth, my brother and sister, error related to Muzdalifah. Some pilgrims start collecting pebbles to throw at the stone pillar, the Jamarat, as soon as they arrive in the Muzdalifah. Prior to even praying the Maghrib and Isha prayers, this is no right. This is no right. It is also no right to hold the belief that the pebbles must be collected at Muzdalifah. The correct thing is that the pebbles can be collected anywhere within the boundaries of Al-Haram, the secret precincts of Mecca. It is known that the Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessing of Allah be upon them, did not ask that the pebbles for throwing the Jamratul Aqaba be picked from from Muzdalifah. They were picked up from him in the morning after leaving Muzdalifah and on entering Mina. The rest of the pebbles were picked up for him from Mina too. My brother and sister, some pilgrims wash the pebbles, but this is not prescribed in the Sharia. Errors related to throwing the pebbles. Firstly, some pilgrims are under the impression that when they are throwing pebbles at the stone pillars, they are actually throwing the shaitan, devils. Hence, they hurl them with rage and shower of the curses and abuses. No, the throwing of the pebbles was only prescribed for the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Most High. Secondly, some people throw big stones, shoes, or piece of wood. This is an act of transgressions and also is matters of religion which the Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, prohibited, and doing that will not suffice for the throwing. Thirdly, jostling, the fighting with other at the pillars while throwing the pebbles is not permissible. What is prescribed is to be gentle and throw the pebbles without hurting anyone as such as possible. Fourthly, my brother and sister, throwing all the pebbles at one time is an error. The scholar have said that this would be counted as only one throw. The Sharia prescribe that the throwing of the pebbles be done one pebble after another, saying Allahu Akbar with each throw. Fifthly, my brother and sister, delegating someone to throw the pebbles simply due to fear of the crowds or of hardship, while one is capable of doing it him or herself. Only the sick or weak individuals are permitted to delegate someone to do the throwing for them. My brother and sisters, seventh, the error related to the farewell tawaf. Firstly, on the day of their departure, some pilgrims go to Mecca to perform their farewell tawaf before throwing the pebbles at the pillars, and then they return to Mina to throw the pebbles and depart from Mina for their respective countries. Thus, their final ride becomes that of throwing the pebbles at the pillars and not of the tawaf around the Kaaba. This is an error, as the Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, said, no one should depart without his last visit being of the house, the Kaaba. My brother and sister, accordingly, the farewell tawaf must be done after one has completed all the rites of Hajj and before starting his journey home. After his tawaf, one should not stay in Mecca except for the time it takes to prepare departure. Secondly, after finishing the farewell tawaf, some people walk backward to facing the Kaaba when going out the sacred mosque without the impression that this is a veneration of the Kaaba. This act is an innovation, bid'ah in the religion, and has no basis. My dear brother and sister, thirdly, after finishing the farewell tawaf, some pilgrims stop at the door of the sacred mosque to make supplications. This is also as innovation with no basis in the Sharia of Islam. My brother and sister, now we will know what is required of the pilgrims. To repent sincerely from all sins and to spend on the Hajj and Umrah out of his lawful earning. Secondly, the guard one tongue from lying, backbiting, and slandering. Thirdly, they purify the intention to perform Hajj or Umrah solely for the pleasure of Allah, the Most High. Fourthly, they learn the actions that are prescribed by the Sharia on Hajj and Umrah, those that constitute the action of the limbs and the pronouncement of the tongue, and in the event of any problem, to ask those who know. Fifthly, my brother and sister, when the pilgrim arrives at the miqat, station of ihram, he is free to choose one of three types of Hajj: ifrad, qiran, or tamattu. Tamattu is preferable for the person who has not brought a sacrificial animal with him, while it's preferable for one who has a sacrificial animal with him. Sixthly, my brother and sister, if the person entering ihram is afraid he may not be able to complete all the rites because sickness or insecurity, he should make a condition. Thus, Allahumma mahilli haythu habastani. I will return to the normal state in case I am obstructed from the proceeding with my rights. Eighthly, my brother and sister, during the state of ihram, one may take a bath or wash his head or scratch it if need be. And ninthly, a woman may wash her face with her head covering if she fears that men who are not maharim related to her will be looking at her. Tenth, my sister, many women wear a headband under the veil to keep it away from the face. This action has no basis in the Sharia. And also, my brother and sister, it is permissible to wash the ihram garments and to wear them again, or the change into other ihram garments. And also, if during the state of ihram, one should wear a swim garments, cover his head, or use scent due to forgetfulness or ignorance, no expiation, fidya, penalty of redemption, is required of him. And also, my brother and sister, if one is performing Hajj at Tamattu or Umrah, he should stop reciting Talbiyah upon arriving the Kaaba before beginning his Tawaf. And also walking with quick, short step and bearing the right shoulder is not permissible except during the Tawaf of arrival, Tawaf al-Qudum, and they apply for men only. And this type of walk is prescribed only during the first 3 circuits of this tawaf. And also, my brother and sister, if the pilgrims forget how many circuits he has performed, whether 3 or 4, he should regard them as 3. That is the lesser of the 2 numbers. The same procedure applies to Sa'i. And also, my brother and sister, in case of large crowd, there is no harm in performing the circuits beyond the station of Ibrahim, Maqam Ibrahim, or even further beyond, as the whole of the scattered mosque is the place of tawaf, whether on the ground floor or on the upper floors of the mosque. And also, it is among the evil action for a woman to make tawaf, showing her adornments or using perfume or not covering herself properly. And also, my brother and sister, if a woman menses begin or she giving birth after entering into ihram, it is not permissible for her to make tawaf until the flow of blood ceases and she cleans herself. And also, a woman may wear any dress of ihram as long as it does not resemble men's clothing, nor show off her adornments or cause temptation to men. And also to pronounce the intentions for the acts of worship other than the Hajj or Umrah is an innovation, and to utter is allowed is even more incorrect. My brother and sister, if a Muslim has the intention of making Hajj or Umrah, it is forbidden for him to pass the miqat, the appointed station of making ihram, without entering into ihram. And also, my brother and sister, if the pilgrim for Hajj or Umrah is traveling by air, he should enter into ihram on the plane when he passes parallel to the miqat lying on his route. He should prepare himself for entering into ihram before reaching the miqat. There is nothing wrong if he goes into ihram before reaching the miqat, especially if he is afraid of falling asleep or becoming forgetful while on the plane. And also, my brother and sister, the practice of doing so many umrahs from Tan'im or Jirana after the Hajj, which some pilgrims do, has no evidence in the Sharia. And also, my brother and sister, the pilgrim who is performing Hajj and Hajj Tamattu re-enters into ihram on the 8th Dhul-Hijjah at the place he is staying in Mecca. It is not necessary for him to go to in the ihram for any specified place within Mecca, such as the Mizab, the gutter at the top of the Kaaba, as many people do, nor is there many farewell tawaf for going out of the Mecca for Mina. And also, my brother and sister, it is preferable to go to the Arafat from Mina on the 9th of Dhul-Hijjah after the sun has risen. And also, it is not permissible to depart from Arafat on the 9th of Dhul-Hijjah before the sun has set. When the pilgrims depart after sunset, he should do so with ease and calmness. And also, the Maghrib and Isha prayer are to be performed after arriving the Muzdalifah, whether at the time of Maghrib or during the period of Isha. It is permissible to gather the pebbles from stoning the pillars of any place within the boundaries of Mecca al-Haram, not necessary for Muzdalifah. And also, my brother and sister, it is not recommended to wash the pebbles because neither the Prophet may be peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, nor his companions did it. And also, my brother and sister, it is permissible for women, children, and the weak of proceed from Muzdalifah to Mina during the last part of the night. And also, when the pilgrim arrives in Mina on the day of Eid, the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, he should stop reciting the Talbiyah when he starts throwing the Jamra Luqba. And also, my brother and sister, it is not required that the pebbles remain within the throw at the base of the pillar. What is required is that they be thrown at the pillar. And also, according to the strongest opinion of the scholar, the period of the slaughtering, the sacrifice extends up to the sunset of the third day of the 3 days spent at Mina. And my brother and sister, also Tawaf al-Ifada, one of the day of Eid, the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, is an essential and integral part of the Hajj, and the Hajj is not complete without it. However, it is permissible to delay it until the end of the stay in Mina. And also, the person making qiran between Hajj and Umrah offer one sa'i only. The same applies in the case of the one doing ifrad. And lastly, my and also my brother and sister, on the day of sacrifice, it is preferable that the pilgrim does the Hajj rites of that date is the following order. He begins by throwing pebbles at the pillar of Aqaba, then the slaughters his sacrificial animal, then he shaves or clips his hair, then he does the tawaf round the Kaaba, followed by his sa'i. If he does some of these right before others, there is no harm in that. And also, my brother and sister, returning to the full normal state after ihram is attained by doing the following: throwing the pebbles at the pillar of Aqaba, and secondly, shaving the head or clipping some of his hair, thirdly, doing the Tawaf al-Ifada. And also, if the pilgrim decide to shorten his stay in Mina, it is necessary that he depart from Mina before sunset. And also, for a child who cannot do the throwing of the pebbles, his guardian is permitted to throw on his behalf after throwing for himself. And also, my brother and sister, a person who is not capable of throwing due to old age, illness, or a similar excuse is permitted to appoint someone to do the throwing on his or her behalf. And also, my brother and sister, the one appointed to do the throwing first throws his own pebbles and then throw the pebbles of the person who appointed him, without leaving the place at each of the pillars. And also, my brother and sister, except for the residents of the sacred mosque, it is obligatory on anyone who is doing Hajj Tamattu or Qiran to do Hadi sacrifice, which is to sacrifice a sheep or a seventh part of a camel or a seventh part of a cow. And also, my brother and sister, if the pilgrim is unable to make his sacrifice, he must fast 3 days during the Hajj and 7 days after returning home. And also, it is preferable that these 3 days of fasting to be completed before the day of Arafat, so that he will not be fasting on the day of Arafat. Otherwise, he should fast on the 11th, 12th, and 13th of Dhul Hijjah. My brother and sister, it is permissible to fast these 3 days either consecutively or separately, because he should not delay them till after the day spent at Mina. The same applies to the 7 days of fasting at home. He may do them consecutively or separately. And lastly, my brother and sister, the farewell tawaf al-wada is obligatory on every pilgrim except a woman menstruating or doing the post-delivery bleeding. Now, my brother and sister, we are complete the Hajj, Hajj and Umrah. Now, my brother and sister, our Sheikh Asadullah Madani, Hafizahullah, is here with us today to answer any question or doubt you have. You may have. The Sheikh is the translator from the Ministry of Islamic Affairs in Saudi Arabia and is a Da'i who is working in many Islamic centers. MashaAllah, he has experience over 30 years, Alhamdulillah. So if any you have any questions, please write in the chat session. Inshallah, Sheikh will be give answer.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, there are some questions in the comment section, I think.
Yeah.
Can you read it or I have to read?
Okay. 1 minute.
Okay, I will read it, Sheikh.
Yeah, I would like to. Yeah. Okay, sir. Okay, Sheikh.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa ala. Here is a question about two prayers together, like in Dhuhr, how many rakat, and Asr, how many rakat? About Maghrib and Isha, how many rakat, please? This is my doubt. When you enter Mina on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, you have entered in the procedure of the Hajj. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he prayed in Mina on 8th, Dhuhr and Asr, and Maghrib and Isha and Fajr. These 5 prayers he prayed in Mina, and all 4 prayers he shortened, but in the same time. He didn't combine Dhuhr in Dhuhr time and Asr in Asr time, but 2 rakat, and also the Isha in the same time in 2 rakat. From the Dhuhr of 8th Dhul Hijjah till Asr of 13th, these all prayers should be shortened, but to be prayed on its time, except Dhuhr and Asr in Arafah. These prayers should be shortened and also should be combined. The Asr in Arafah should be prayed in the Dhuhr time. And also in Muzdalifah, 3 rakats of Maghrib and 2 rakats of Isha should be combined in Muzdalifah. The next is, please clarify again on the salah which we need to pray for each day, and which one to combine and which one to pray with separate iqamat. I have told, I have elaborated it. And the restrictions of cutting nails is started from wearing ihram or from first Dhul Hijjah. Restriction of cutting the hair and nails is for non-haji, who is slaughtering the animal, who is having the intention of slaughtering the animal, and he is not doing the Hajj. For him or for her, there is a restriction of cutting the hairs and the nails. And regarding the Haji, he can cut his nails and hairs before entering into ihram. Inshallah, we'll do Hajj Ifrad. Once arrived in Makkah, we'll do Tawaf Qudum, then Sa'i, then to Mina. Okay. On Dhul Hijjah 10th, after throw Jamra Aqaba, can we go to Haram to perform Tawaf Ifada after? This is related to the appointment of the company because this year all the rituals you have to be done. You can't do alone. You have to do with your muallim, with your bus leader, according to the appointment given by the government. Are we going to do Nafar Awal or Nafar Zani? I think most of the companies are winding up from Mina on 12th. And this is called Nafar Awal, who is returning from Mina on 12th. And who is staying and continuing his Hajj till 13th. It is called Nafar al-Akhir or Nafar Thani. Do we need to wear ihram from Riyadh itself, or the bus will take us to Miqat first for ihram? Normally, all the buses company bus will also stop in Miqat, inshallah. And you have to wear ihram from the Miqat. For Hajj Tamattu, after shaving hair after Umrah, can we come to Mina with same ihram and change the Hajj ihram in Mina? Yes, it is possible. It is possible. Or it is necessary to change ihram in Makkah only. I think you will this year you will not have the opportunity to change to cut the hair after your sa'i and cut your hair and change the ihram in Makkah itself. I think it will be not possible this year according to the procedure given to the companies. You may come to the Mina to your camp and cut your hair and change your ihram. Considering currently uncertain situation due to government control, is it possible one coming from Riyadh to the niyat for Hajj Quran and after reaching Makkah before Umrah can change the niyat for Hajj Tamattu? Yes, you can change your niyyah according to the situation. It is possible, no problem. If you are doing Hajj Qiran and not allowed to do Sa'i on 8th Zil Hajj, can we do Sa'i on 10th Zil Hajj after Tawaf Wada? Yes, if you are having the intention of Qiran, in the Hajj Qiran, there is only one Sa'i. If you do on 7th or 8th, before entering in Mina, if you have done your Sa'i, it will be considered as a Sa'i of Hajj. You don't need to do on 10th or after it. But you have not done before that on 7th or 8th, you have not done after entering the ihram of Qiran, you have not done the Sa'i, then you have to do the Sa'i on 10th or after that. Okay. Do we have to pray all Salah as 2 rakat first as a traveler, right from Eid al-Hajj till 13th al-Hajj? Yes, because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam have prayed like that in Mina and also in Arafah and Muzdalifah. I told that only in Arafah and Muzdalifah you have to combine, you have to shorten and combine. And in Mina you have to pray on its time, but you have to shorten your prayer. All 4 rakahs will go to 2 rakahs. For 2 rakahs Zuhar and Asr Salah in Arafat, is it have to be with one salam or we have to pray 2 rakahs first separate for Zuhar and 2 rakahs first separate for Asr? You have to pray 2 rakahs Zuhar with niyyah of Zuhar, and you have to do salam. And also for Asr also the same. Each prayer you have to complete with the salam. Which type of Hajj we are going to do this year? It is according to your niyyah. If you want to do ifrad, there is option. If you want to do Quran, yeah, there is option. And if you have intention to do tamattu, there is the option, inshallah, according to the messages which are received by the pilgrims from the ministry. Inshallah, there will be the option of tamattu also. Is the ihram free from what we pay, or we much buy by our own? It is. You can clarify this question from your company. Which type of Hajj we are going to do this year? Which type of Hajj we are going to do tamattu available? I already replied. Which Hajj will we do with the group? The same question is repeating. Which type of Hajj we are going to do with the Riyadh group? I think many of the pilgrims are in confusion. Inshallah, the tamattu will be available. Inshallah, if it is not possible, you can change your niyyah into Quran before entering into the ihram, or even after entering in ihram with the niyyah of Quran, you can change into tamattu. Will there be sheikh available in group of our guidance throughout Hajj? I think you can confirm with your company. What will be our niyyah if we were coming from Dammam by air? You have to, yeah, by air, if you are traveling by air, you are crossing the miqat while you are on the air. So you have to wear your ihram and do your niyyah of Hajj Tamattu or Hajj Quran or Hajj Ifrad, whatever you are having intention, you have to do niyyah in the plane itself before the crossing of Miqat. I have participated in 10-minute prayer to end of program due to my work. Do you post it in YouTube? Inshallah, it will be available. What type niyyah we have to do? That is Quran Ifrad. Already replied. I want to know, by mistake I selected Udhiyah instead of Hadi while paying on mystery of Hajj. Udhiyah and Hadi, there is a difference between in these two. Hadi is the sacrifice given by a Haji, which should be in Makkah, which should be in the hudud, in the boundary of Haram, in Makkah or in Mina. Whereas the Udhiyah, it can be done anywhere in the world, because there is a option for Udhiyah. If you have bought the token of Udhiyah, there is uncertainty of being your sacrifice in the boundary of Haram. You can confirm with the concerned authorities where you have paid the money of for Udhiyah. If not, you have to cancel it. You can cancel. I think there is option of cancellation. You can cancel it, and again you can book for the Hadi. I understand it should follow group. Yes, this year every ritual you are doing, you can't do individually. You have to do with your group. You have to follow your group. You have to go everywhere to do your ibadah in Arafah, in Muzdalifah, in Mina, even in Makkah and in the Haram. You have to go with your group leader. You can't do individually. We are going for some time Wadi Arna before going to Arafat. According to the procedure, your buses will be taken to the camp located in Arafah. You are not going to, I think you are not going to Wadi Arna. You are going direct to Arafat, inshallah. Is it permissible to use two sets of ihram by changing a different time, especially when niyyah is made for Hajj Ihram? You can change your clothes. The ihram clothes are not ihram. Ihram is your niyyah. And regarding the change of the clothes you have wear, you can change. In the same rule is for the for a man and for the woman also. They can change their clothes. And regarding the two white clothes of ihram for a man, he can change also. If on 10th Zil Hajj, a woman start menstruation, when can she perform tawaf ifadah and its sa'i? If she coming from Riyadh, will she have to go again to Makkah for tawaf and sa'i and tawaf wida? If a woman she have her period before tawaf ifadah, then she have to wait. There are two options for her. She have to wait until she get clean and do the tawaf ifadah and also tawaf sa'i and tawaf ifadah also. And if she, and the second option is, if she can't remain in Mecca in that situation, she have to come to her place for Riyadh, for example. Then she didn't get got out from her ihram. Her ihram is remaining with her. She is in a state of ihram. For that, he should not have any
Mic खोलें शेख, mic. शेख mic खोलें.
wada. She can come to her place without tawaf.
सर आपकी आवाज
Sheikh-
नहीं आ रही है.
Sheikh, repeat the answer about these questions. Your voice.
Regarding a woman, the woman who comes in her period or get her period while she is in Hajj, there are the two situations. One situation is that she gets her period after tawaf ifadah and before tawaf wada. In that situation, she can come back completing her Hajj without tawaf wada, because her tawaf ifadah had completed. This is the one situation. In this
साहब आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
अभी भी नहीं आ रही.
म्यूट है आप.
आ रही
सर, आ रही.
Hello.
आ रही शेख.
The first situation is she had completed her tawaf ifadah but not completed her tawaf wada, and she got into her periods. In this situation, she can come to.
शेख साहब अनम्यूट करिए आप. आपकी आवाज सुनाई नहीं दे रही. अनम्यूट करिए.
भाई सबको सुनाई दे रही मेरे भाई.
नहीं, अभी तो आ रही है आवाज.
आपके पास नहीं आ रही मेरे ख्याल से.
आवाज आ रही है बराबर आ रही
है. क्लियर.
मेरे पास तो अनम्यूट है भाई, आप देख लें अपने पास. The first situation of the kind of woman, I already told you. And the second situation is when a woman gets her period before tawaf ifadah. In that situation, she had to wait until she becomes clean, and then she have to do her tawaf ifadah and sa'i and tawaf wada. If she can't do, like she can't remain in Makkah in so many days, she can come back. This is the second option. She can come back to her place, but she will be in a state of ihram that means her ihram is not completely went off from her, but she is in a state of ihram. She will be not have any connection of intimacy with her husband, and she should come back after she cleans and do her tawaf ifada and sa'i and tawaf wada. The next question.
Can I make niyat tamattu from Dammam and change to Qiran if it is not allowed?
Yeah, I told you the changing of the niyyah is allowed, because Umm al-Mu'minin Aisha radhiyallahu anha, when she came to Makkah, before coming Makkah, she was having the niyyah of Umrah, of tamattu, but she got in her period, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told her to change her niyyah into Qiran. She has changed, and so many Sahabas changed her niyyah while they were in the travel of Hajj. The niyyah can be changed according to the situation.
If I took Umrah before Hajj, do I need to take Wida Tawaf?
Tawaf wada is related to all Hajjis. Even if you do Hajj Tamattu, Hajj Qiran, Hajj Ifrad, the Tawaf wada is a wajib. It is wajib of Hajj for all, except the residents of Makkah.
Yeah. If I get chance to tamattu, his hair should be cut after Tawaf Ifada for lady and also on the 10th Zilhijjah.
Tawaf Ifada is not related to Tamattu. It is related to for all Hajis. Even one who do Hajj Tamattu or Hajj Qiran or Hajj Ifrad, Tawaf Ifada is Rukun. It should be done. And after that, the 5 things of the day of 10th, stoning the Jamarat and sacrifice for the Hajj Tamattu. One who do Hajj Tamattu, he have to sacrifice his animal, and also who does Hajj Quran, he has to sacrifice his animal. And after that, cutting the hairs or shaving the head, and also and the 4th is tawaf, and the 5th is, and this tawaf is tawaf ifada, tawaf rukun, tawaf al-hajj. It is the main. And after that, sa'i. These are the 5 things of the 10th day, and it can be tawaf or sa'i. It can be postponed to 11th or 12th, and even the tawaf ifada can be done combining with tawaf wida. If it is the last tawaf, if it becomes the last action, last tawaf, the tawaf ifada, it will be considered as tawaf wada also.
Yeah. Can I wear backpack on ihram?
No problem. The main thing is which is prohibited for a man. It is the stitched cloth. In other meaning, which can be wearable, in your 2 hands or in 2 legs. And regarding the wrapping of the cloth, it's allowed, just like ihram. It is the wrapping of the cloth. But wearing the cloth it means you have to put your arms inside that, or your legs inside that, like your pant, like your trouser, like your banyan, like your anything, like your shirt. 2 arms or 2 legs you have to put in it. It is the main thing which is prohibited. Regarding the stitching in the belt, stitching in the slippers, stitching in the umbrella, stitching in stitches in other things, it is all permissible.
It is permissible to carry the small bag around neck.
No problem, no problem. The bag is not considered as a wear.
Yeah. If we are giving hadi for Hajj, do we have to give it sacrifice also?
Regarding the hadi, it is only for the. It will be considered only for the haji. Even even if a couple is in Hajj, they have to, if they have the niyyah of tamattu or qiran, they have to sacrifice personally, and there will be sacrifice for the husband. There will be a sacrifice for the wife. It can't be in sharing. All hadi is in person, is to be given in person, as a personal sacrifice. And regarding udhiyah, it can be shared by many people residing in one house, and they can combine in niyyah for all. It can be done for all. One sacrifice is enough for one house. If a person who is in Hajj, he does he's doing his sacrifice in Hajj as a hadi, it will be not considered as a udhiyah. If he wants to give udhiyah for his family or for his parents, he have to do another. Otherwise, if we don't want to do for them, he's considering for himself only. Then the hadi is enough for him. He have no need to do another udhiyah for himself.
Jazakallahu khaira. Can a woman remove facial hair, upper lip or chin in ihram?
In ihram?
In ihram.
Instead of ihram?
No.
No, not allowed. Not allowed. No cutting of hairs, no plucking of hairs, no cutting of nails. These are not permissible in the state of ihram. If she is intentionally plucking her hair, she have to give one sacrifice, or or to feed 6 poor people in Mecca, or the third option is, if she can't do that, she can't feed the poor people, 6 poor people, she have to do 3 fast.
Jazakallahu khaira. Does mosque Nimra fall within boundaries of Arafah?
Nimra, Masjid Nimra, half of the masjid, the front side of the masjid is in Wadi Arana. It is not in Arafah. And the behind part of this masjid, the back part of the masjid, it in Arafah. Sometimes some persons go and sit in the front of the masjid in the first saf and second saf, and they consider it at Arafah. They think they are in Arafah, and they sit there till the sunset, and then from there they go to Muzdalifah. Regarding these people, they didn't enter in Arafah. They were in Wadi Arana, which is not the part of Arafah.
Yeah. And also, Jazakumullah khair, before showing, how we will understand our sacrifice done or not?
Before?
Showing maybe throwing the stones.
Before throwing the pebbles.
Yeah, pebbles.
Regarding the throwing the pebbles, as the first action, and the second action of that day is the sacrifice, and third is the cutting hairs and or the shaving the hairs, and the fourth is tawaf, and fifth is sa'i, and all is the and these with this arranged order is preferable, not wajib. If anyone if anyone sacrifice before the throwing the pebbles or do tawaf before throwing the pebbles, it is allowed. It is also sunnah of the Sahaba. So, but if you intend to do with the same order which the Rasulullah had done, then you have to wait till your sacrifice has done, and you have got the message from the from the person who had done on behalf of you, and then you can cut your hairs. And regarding the on-site booking, I think it is not possible to get message from them, because there are thousands of animals which are slaughtered in the same time, and they can't give you the information that your animal has sacrificed. But it will be sacrificed. It will be sacrificed, but there will be no particular time for it. You can consider your sacrifice. Your sacrifice has done, and go along to the for the other actions, for the other deeds, inshallah.
Sure. Sunnah is the best way to perform Hajj, but due to time mismatches with operator, can we go ourselves and perform Hajj?
Perform Hajj means
Yeah,
some particular action.
Particular action, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe it must be followed to operator rules.
According to the Sharia, it is allowed, but according to the procedure this year, you can't perform anything, any ritual individually on your own. You have to go with your group. These the instructions of the government this year.
Yeah. We must offer all prayer in Mina on 8th of Dhul Hijjah. So should we come early morning to go for Tawaf Qudum?
Tawaf Qudum is before coming to Mina.
Mina, Tawaf Qudum, yeah.
Before coming to Mina.
Coming to Mina.
And these the five prayers in Mina, it is Sunnah. If anyone missed the prayers in Mina, it is not he's not having any defect in his Hajj, inshallah. But following the Sunnah, it is preferable, it is better, it is rewardable.
Jazakallah khair. Restrictions for cutting nails and hair will start after entering Ihram or from 1 Dhul Hijjah?
I have replied, sir. I have replied.
Yeah.
It is for non-Haji. From first Dhul Hijjah, it is for non-Haji who is sacrificing the animal. Regarding the Haji, the restriction begins from the time of entering the Ihram.
Yeah. We have to pray only 2 rakat first, no sunnat and nafil in Mina.
Regarding the fard, all fard has gone to will go to 2 rakats, will be shortened. Because of that, many scholars have the stand that there will be no sunnah in Mina. And regarding the nafil, the nafil can be prayed. Nafil can be done, because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in the travel, he used to pray the nafil. In travel, he.
Sheikh, फिर mute हो गया Sheikh.
But he used to pray the nafil.
Yeah.
If we read, the nafil can be prayed.
Yeah. If we read during Niyah, Allahumma mahalli haythu habastani, then women should also give fidya because of wearing mask.
Wearing mask is a different matter. Allahumma mahalli haythu habastani, it is the condition for not for stopping the Hajj, for not doing the further actions of the Hajj. It is a condition if you are unable to proceed in Hajj. And regarding the mask, it can, if a woman is using according to the necessity, it is allowed, but the fidya has to be given as feeding six poor people, or 3 fasts.
And do we need to perform Umrah separately after Hajj Ifrad?
No, Hajj Ifrad means the intention of Hajj only. No Umrah is in niyyah or in action.
Yeah. If we combine Tawaf Ifada and Tawaf Wida, we need to do what we need to do.
You have, if you want to postpone your Tawaf Ifada until you do your Tawaf Wada, it can be combined. If it is the last action of your Hajj, it will be considered as Tawaf Ifada and Tawaf Wada also. But in this situation, if you have not done your sa'i, you have to do before that.
Tamattu can be changed to Khiran if Tamattu is not allowed.
Changeable, permissible,
Permissible.
can be changed.
Can I use nasal spray and Vicks inhaler while in the state of Ihram?
Can be, it can be.
Yeah.
It is not a scent.
What about Salah performed in Masjid al-Haram on 8th, 10th and 12th, 13th during Tawaf? Should that also be shortened?
No. The prayers will be shortened in Mina only, not outside the Mina. If you go to Haram, you have to complete your prayers.
Restriction for cutting nails and hair will start after entering in Ihram or first Dhul-Hijjah. Sheikh, give the answer. What is the difference between Udhiyah and Hadi? What we should do during Hajj is also give the answer. Replied. What about 2 rakah Sunnah Muakkada of Fajr, which Prophet, peace be upon him, used to perform even in travel, and Witr Salah also should be skipped in Mina and Muzdalifah?
Yeah. In Mina and Muzdalifah, the witr and 2 rakahs of Sunnah before the Fajr, it should be prayed.
Will we be in Ihram clothes during Tawaf Ifada or normal clothes?
If you have pebbled the Jamarat and have your cutting after the sacrifice, no, you are independent to go without Ihram for Tawaf. You can go without Ihram. And if you go with Ihram also, no problem. But when you have done these 3 things, you have pebbled the Jamarat and the sacrifice is done, and you have cut your hair, you are now halal. You are out of Ihram. Then what you are doing with your Ihram to going for Tawaf?
Yeah.
There is no necessity there of Ihram there. You can go without Ihram.
For Hajj Tamattu, Tawaf Qudum is required before Umrah Tawaf, or Umrah Tawaf itself is Tawaf Qudum?
Tawaf Qudum is for one who do Hajj Qiran or one do Hajj Ifrat. Regarding one who is doing Hajj Tamattu, there is no need of Tawaf Qudum. The Tawaf Umrah is enough. The Tawaf Qudum is combined with the Tawaf Umrah. There is no need to perform Tawaf Qudum separate and then Tawaf Umrah for Umrah. One Tawaf of Umrah is enough.
Yeah.
One Tawaf means it is 7 circles.
Is the mask allowed in Ihram for men?
The prohibition, the things prohibited in the things prohibited for the men, especially, there are 2 things. One, not to cover the head, and the second, no stitched clothes. Regarding the covering of the face, it is allowed for men, not for women.
What is the difference ifada and wada? Tawaf ifada and tawaf wada.
Tawaf ifada is the tawaf al-rukun. It is called tawaf al-hajj. It is the main. It is a pillar. If you have not done, your hajj is in vain. And the tawaf al-wada, it is a wajib. It can be made up by the sacrifice. If you leave the tawaf al-wada and come back to Riyadh al-Damam, your hajj will be completed with a sacrifice done in Makkah with dam. It is called dam. Dam can be given for any wajib which is left. But any rukun which is left, the hajj should be repeated. The hajj is invalid. So tawaf al-ifada is rukun. Without it, the hajj will not be valid. And tawaf al-wada is a wajib which can be completed with a sacrifice if it is left.
Yeah. Is vaping or smoking during Hajj possible?
Hello? Repeat. Can you repeat that?
Is vaping or smoking during Hajj possible? Vaping? Vaping? I don't vaping. Smoking during Hajj is possible. Smoking.
My brother
Sheikh, mute ho gaya hai.
Sound is gone.
Now it's clear.
I want to tell this brother who asked this question. First of all, you have to fear Allah. The smoking is not allowed in normal condition. It is haram. Whenever you smoke, you are doing a sin. You are doing a sin. And now you are in the state of haram, in state of Hajj, and you want to Allah accept your Hajj. And in this situation, you are not you are not avoiding to do you are not avoiding yourself from this sin. Then how can your Hajj will be accepted? Please sit and think this situation, what you're doing in Hajj, and what you're doing the sin of smoking. Please avoid it and do tawbah and ask from Allah to give you the tawfiq to avoid permanently this smoking. And inshallah Allah will forgive and give you the tawfiq, inshallah, bismillah. Please avoid it.
Inshallah. Can we apply balm or leg for stress relief though it has strong smell?
The thing which is prohibited in the state of haram, this is the perfume, which we call the scent. If there is some kind of perfume in the cream, in toothpaste, in some these kind of lotions, it is allowed, inshallah, if there is necessity. Better to use the lotion or any cream without which is unscented, which is without scent. But there is a necessity, and you have nothing of that kind. You are having only a lotion or a cream which is having some kind of scent. It can be used, inshallah, no problem.
Should we give fidya for 6 masakin in Mecca, or can we give in our city after Hajj?
Better to the poor of Mecca. If you didn't find them there, then there is a second option. The first option is to feed the poor people of Mecca. Sheikh, the Azan has called, and I have to go. There is another meeting.
Because many questions here. Inshallah, we will give after then. Inshallah, if you have any question, you can ask by WhatsApp message. Inshallah, we will give answer you. Now, my brother and sister, thanks. I would like to thanks all of you who attend this session, this program, and especially I want to thank Fadilatul Shaykh Hasadullah Usman Umri Madani Hafizahullah for taking out this time and answering the question. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him reward and all the people that have attended this program. And also, I hope you all have benefited from his program and have answered many of your questions. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept this special journey of Hajj from all of us and increase our faith. Jazakumullah khair. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
If anybody, Sheikh, you want to question personally, you can forward him my number. Huh?
Okay. If you have any question, you can ask, inshallah. And also, I will give you Sheikh contact number. You can contact directly. Okay.
Barakallah.
Jazakumullah khair. Barakallahu feekum.
Please share the number, Sheikh number, please share.
Okay. Taqabbalallahu minna minkum sali al-amal. Now I will write in the chat box Sheikh mobile number. You can call directly. Okay.
Also, please try to share the video link also, the recorded one.
Okay, recorded one. Inshallah, I will share in our group. Inshallah.
Thank you. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Dear Sheikh, it was really excellent support from your team, and we are very, very thankful for the whole team members, and we will pray inshallah for you all. Jazakallah khair.
Ameen wa iyyakum. Ameen. Jazakumullah khair. Now the prayer time, inshallah, we leave the meeting. Okay.
Please share the number.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.